Okay, welcome to the Sunday Premier League show. 4 matches for me to get through very quickly. I saw 2 matches throughout Sunday's action, and there were 2 other matches this morning on highlights. Let's get to the first match then. It was the relegation battle at the Hawthorns West Bromwich Albion against Newcastle. Well, as games goes, this was really a pretty hard watch. Newcastle, to be fair, were without Almiron and St Maximus, and of course they've been without Callum Wilson for a while. But it was a very, very poor game of football. Very few even half chances created. The first half, two slight glimmers of action. Johnson got a hand to push away a Shelby deflected shot on the half hour. And Diagne, who apparently has been prolific in Turkey, his header forced a sharp save from Dubrovka. But that was goalless at the break. And second half, even less to report. Linton fed Willock, whose shot was pushed round the post on 60 minutes. But that was really about it. A dreadful start then, but both teams got a point out of it. Newcastle will certainly be happier than West Brom. West Brom virtually down now. Full-time score, West Bromwich Albion 0, Newcastle United 0. Okay, next up then to Anfield. Liverpool at home to Fulham. Fulham's form has been very impressive. They've been very defensively solid, and their form is as good as a top 6 team at the moment. On the contrast in that is Liverpool's diabolical form. They've lost the last 5 in a row at Anfield. And so could this be a 6th? Liverpool rang the changes. Klopp had 2 Williams on their defensive line with only a handful of first team experience. And Arnold was on the bench, although Jamie Robertson, most experienced defender. Their midfield and up front was still looking pretty potent, and they had Diego Jota back after he'd been out for some time. Shaqiri also up front with Mo Salah. Anyway, let's get to the action, and it has to be said that Fulham, even though they left Loftus-Cheek on the bench, took the game to Liverpool, and they looked far more impressive. Their passing movement was solid. Their defence line was looking very, very comfortable with the Liverpool front three, and they were comfortably on top. Although Alisson had to intervene on 28 minutes to deny Madja, otherwise he would have probably had a tap in. 34 minutes, Lookman had broke the high line that Liverpool were playing, and he cut inside, and his shot was blocked and spiralled over the bar. Up the other end, Shaqiri did have an effort from distance on 38, but it went over. But then a minute before the break, Liverpool trying to defend a free kick, the ball actually cleared to the edge of the box, but Salah was far too incisive, and he was robbed by Lamina, who ploughed a few yards further into the box and hits a lovely shot, right foot shot, that went to Alisson's right and in the corner. And Fulham deservedly had gone in to the lead by 1-0, and that was a score at half-time. Second half, he expected an onslaught from Liverpool. It didn't really happen. They did dominate possession, but Fulham were looking very comfortable. And even though Klopp put on his strike force, Mane came on, Arnold came on. To be perfectly honest, they had their moments, but they lacked the killing instinct in the final third. And Jota had a volley on 46 that was probably the best effort, brought a great save from Areola, and it was all the defence and I was particularly impressed with the Fulham captain Anderson, who seemed to be able to block everything and got that final tackle in. And inevitably, we got to the final few minutes, and Fulham were hanging on, but Liverpool just couldn't open up that defensive line. And so Fulham remarkably had won this game by 1-0. They're now level on points with the fourth team, Brighton, in the relegation zone. I don't know what's going to happen now at Liverpool. 6 defeats in a row at home. Terrible statistic, really. But anyway, final score, Liverpool 0, Fulham 1. So to the match that I didn't watch last night due to fatigue. But I watched the highlights this morning, and it made my breakfast a very enjoyable event. Manchester City at home to Manchester United. Manchester United won the last 2 at the Etihad, so they were confident. But of course, 21 wins in a row for City is a tremendous effort. Henderson was in for De Gea. James was also in. Still no Pogba, of course. Martial up front. And within minutes of the start, Martial, with a sort of assist from Rashford, got the ball, started to weave his way across the penalty area, and Jesus came in, and it was a pretty basic challenge, messed up, and he clipped Martial's heel and took him out, and it was an obvious penalty. And we'd had 90 seconds on the clock, and penalty master Fernandes stepped up with his usual little hop, and he steered it just wide of Ederson. Ederson, a good effort, but it was 1-0 to the Red Devils. After that, Shaw was looking very impressive, and he went on a run, and his shot brought a save from Ederson. There were lots of possession from City, as you'd expect, but to be perfectly honest, nothing substantial. And it was getting to the point where the United counter was looking more threatening. Anyway, we got to the break 1-0 up for United, came out for the second half, and, within seconds of the restart, virtually, a breakaway involving Shaw from just inside his own half. He kept on running, and alongside him was Martial. The City defence were backing off. He fed the ball to Martial, who quickly returned it to Shaw, and he was inside the box, so he clipped the ball, and it went in the corner wide of Ederson, and that was the second. There was some thought about offside, but nothing substantial. The goal stood, and United were 2 up. Rodri did hit the bar. We had Sterling, a shot from him that Henderson dealt comfortably, and an effort from Mahrez. He, in fact, delivered 2 very dangerous crosses, but Jesus just couldn't get a touch on them. There was an effort from Foden that went over. But to be perfectly honest, Henderson did what he had to do very solidly, but he didn't have anything exceptional to do. And we got to the finish, and United had broken that streak, that 21-game winning streak. They had held on with some ease, it has to be said, for their 3rd win at the Etihad for Solskjaer. And final score then, Manchester City 0, Manchester United 2. Last game up then on Sunday was the London derby between Spurs and Crystal Palace. Palace had Zaha on the bench. He'd been missing for a number of games. Mourinho went with his potent strike force of Son, Bale and Harry Kane, with Moura in just behind. And this combination is starting to prove very deadly. And it took 25 minutes, but it wasn't long before Bale managed to get on the end of a Harry Kane cross from the byline. It was a simple tap in, but they created that surprise on the break, and Palace were looking pretty bedraggled. As we approached the interval, though, a ray of light for Crystal Palace. Benteke headed in a Milivojevic cross. A fine header it was that was far too good for Lloris. So we went in 1-1. But Mourinho had obviously done the trick in the changing rooms, because within 4 minutes of the real start, a beautiful piece of play involving Son and Kane, and it set up a great header from Bale, and that was his brace, and so Tottenham 2-1 up. 3 minutes later, a lovely curled effort from Kane put them 3-1 up, and then Lamela came on, and he got Son involved. Great pass to Son over the top. Son passed it into the box on the volley, and Harry Kane headed home comfortably, and that was 4-1. So, great result for Spurs. They seem to have hit the jackpot now with Bale, and Harry Kane is also getting the benefits. Final score then at the new White Hart Lane: Spurs 4, Crystal Palace 1. Okay, so that's the weekend action complete. There are a couple of games on Monday, but I won't be covering those. So Manchester City's lead was cut. Manchester United back up to second with Leicester third, and Spurs closing in on the top four now. But at the bottom, major move by Fulham, who are now on level points with Brighton. Newcastle are 1 point better than that, and Burnley 3. So that's your lot. We'll be back next week with another show. Oh, and I might well do the Champions League if I've got time.